And the topic that's been sort of covering pretty much all my news feed, I don't know what's covering your news feed, but what's been all over my news feed is the Memorandum of Understanding, which has been dubbed the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. And it kind of sounds like, I haven't read it. They just released the details of it like a day or two ago, which that was weird too. So like they announced this last weekend with the plan to sign it. I think they signed it yesterday, Thursday, something like that, but they didn't want to release the details of it. It's almost like either they didn't know or they, for some reason, they didn't want, like Trump always wants you to know how great of a deal he made. And immediately all kinds of speculation came out as to what, like I think Iran was releasing what they thought the deal said. And now that it's out, I think it's out. I haven't looked at it, but from what I'm hearing from commentary, so it sounds like the only the only country that's getting anything out of it is Iran, which is kind of weird. The things that we are getting, or at least from my understanding, is the things that the U.S. and Israel are getting from this whole 3-4 month debacle is what we had before it started. Now, if I'm wrong, comment. I haven't been following it that closely. I thought about doing my own research and reading the JCPOA to see how it compared, but I'm not getting into the weeds on this. This is, sometimes I have to remind myself that this is the Uncredible Podcast, so I don't have to do that stuff. Like if somebody says, oh, you didn't do your research. I know. That's kind of the point. It's like, I'm just a regular guy. This is what I'm hearing. And what I'm hearing is, I'll tell you what's interesting. A couple of weeks ago, we did that political rewind where we looked at what Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin were saying. And I believe, I haven't heard, well, no, I saw Ben Shapiro for sure, but I haven't heard Mark Levin's side of this, but they're not happy. So that tells you something, right? That tells you that the people who are of the highest level of support of this war are disappointed in this deal. So that tells you that they didn't get what they wanted out of it, and they were the ones who were the biggest supporters of it. But I saw a clip on Facebook. I think it was either Facebook or Instagram of Ben Shapiro just kind of like not real happy about the deal. I didn't listen to it in deep. I just noticed his demeanor. And one thing that struck me from the clips that we used in our episode a couple weeks ago from March was how just downright giddy this guy was about, making fun of the son of the Ayatollah and his one leg. And I mean, it got really inappropriate at one point, especially for Ben Shapiro. But he was just like, there were points where Trump said things and he was just like cut from the clip and he was giggling like a little schoolgirl. It was weird, man. But now to see his demeanor where he's like super serious, he's looking at the camera real serious. It's like, this is serious. These are some of the bad things. It's like, okay, but it made me think something. So if the people who support Trump are MAGA, right? So if the people who support Trump are MAGA, and of late, since this war started, MAGA has kind of separated itself from certain types of people, basically the independents, like Republicans who were like opposed to the war. We'll call it that way. Because, I mean, obviously I could go and name the people that everyone names, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, and so on and so forth, that they've been ousted by the MAGA group, whatever MAGA is, which, at this point, MAGA seems to represent the people who are loyal Trump supporters. Those people want you to believe that that's what the Republican Party is. And this seems to demonstrate something that I think we all know, but it's starting to get there. We're at the end of what is known as the MAGA movement. The Make America Great Again. This what is it, 16-year journey? Was it 14? No, 12-year journey? How long has it been? 3 terms because he skipped one. So 12 years plus a couple years on it. So 13, 14-year journey of Make America Great Again? It's almost over. It's almost over because, it started with Donald Trump wanting to make America great again. And it will end, based on the way this has played out, it will end, similar to like the Tea Party, it will end as he fades out. I mean, what was the Tea Party has now essentially become the Warhawks. Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, And then Rand Paul, which Rand Paul's kind of been quiet lately, which is kind of weird. Or maybe I'm just not paying attention to it. But those three guys represented the Tea Party back in the day, back when Trump ran it initially. And that movement has been entirely engulfed in what would be considered like neoconservative war hawk tendencies. Like they're all kind of wrapped up, except Rand, who's sort of like, I'm not sure where he's at. I kind of feel like Rand Paul is playing defense right now because people like Thomas Massey, Tulsi Gabbard, those people falling off, like those more independent leaning people that Trump used to get elected, are now kind of like, they're doing business. You know, they're looking ahead, trying to get through this administration on to the next thing to when they can be effective. That's what it seems like. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's been doing other things and I just haven't heard about it. But this memorandum of understanding, it seems like, so one of the big talking points is how much money is Iran going to get? And I saw a clip of Donald Trump saying they're not getting any money from the U.S. It's just money that it was the funniest. I should clip it, but I'm not going to. It was a clip of him at the G7 answering questions. And he says, it's not our money, it's their money. We stole it, and we're just allowing them to have access to it. But the numbers that are being thrown around are like $200 and $300 billion that, you know, if you think about it, those are frozen assets that Iran did not have access to, that they now have access to as a result of this memorandum. And then Trump said something like, no, they don't just get access to it. They're going to have to behave. He treats them like a child. He talks like they're a child. And it's like that, from what I understand, and I understand very little about this, those are pretty much similar terms to the JCPOA. I don't know how those funds tied into the JCPOA, but it sounds to me like basically Iran's not getting a nuclear weapon the way they were before. Now, I did hear one commentator say no, it wasn't a commentator. It was J.D. Vance said the difference between this and the JCPOA is that the JCPOA allowed Iran to reach a certain level of nuclear capability, where this slowly reduces. So this somehow reduces it. But there's also a weird 60-day limit involved here. So it kind of feels like they just gave a name to the 60-day ceasefire that they had before that they didn't really follow. And so, like, I asked the question, like, what did everyone get out of it? Well, Iran seems to be getting everything back, or at least on some level, everything they had back and more, because they're getting access to this money, which who knows how long that's been seized or blocked or frozen or whatever they're saying. The U.S. is getting the Straits of Hormuz open, which were already open before the war. And they're getting what seems to be a very similar, check and balance on the nuclear program of Iran. So I guess in a way that's something we got, but we already kind of had that before. If Trump's the one that tore that up in the first place. And by the way, people say these newscasters are like, tore up. Did he actually tear it up, or did he just walk away from it? I don't understand that story either. But then the one thing that some of the major supporters of the war in the U.S. were for was Israel. And Donald Trump made some sort of comment kind of like Israel needs to behave itself too. He said Israel wouldn't exist without him. Like he kept Israel alive, kind of a thing. It was a weird moment there too. But he kind of basically said Israel's going to have to do their part too in not bombing Lebanon. So it seems like controls got put on Israel, or expectations were put on Israel. It didn't really seem like Israel got anything but Iran won't attack you anymore. That seems like okay. Which again, I think they had that too. Maybe, if you go back to October 7th, I guess you would argue not. But, and then you've got America getting what it already had, and then Iran getting something more. So it kind of seems like, correct me if I'm wrong on how this works, but it kind of seems like from the media that I'm listening to, Iran gets some stuff and everyone else just gets back to square one, which is better than where we're at now, right? So going back is better, but then it raises the question, what was the point? Right? Did we just do this whole war so Iran could get in a better position than they were before the war? That wasn't the plan. That certainly wasn't the plan. So, and then, like I said, my uncredible take from all this is seeing the reaction from the people who've supported this war all along and been behind Donald Trump on this. You sort of saw the people who were opposed to war that supported MAGA going in got sort of put on the outs. And now that Trump is doing a 360, those people aren't coming back in because this was done. And he's now turning his back on the people who supported the war that wanted to go further. So it kind of makes me think the inevitable is happening and MAGA is coming to an end. If the House and Senate, or even just the House, go to the Democrats, that's it. I mean, Trump's presidency he'll be a lame duck president for a couple of years, and then we'll be moving on to the next election. But this might be the end of what we know of as MAGA being like, it's coming to an end. I have an article coming out in a couple of weeks about boomers, but it's coming to an end. This might be the last hurrah for boomer leadership. Like this might be the beginning of the end of that generation's stranglehold on the U.S. political system. Like this might be, and personally, I think that's a good thing. Not necessarily because I have anything against the generation, but I think the generation is getting older. And I do write about that in an article that's coming out in a couple of weeks, where it's nothing personal, but people from the 50s and 60s ought not be making policy about AI. Well, why not? They don't understand it. We've all had that experience where this is a major detour from the news, but we've all had that moment where we've had to help a boomer with their phone. They don't understand the internet. They don't understand, like some people do, but most of them don't know what's going on. That generation is coming to an end, like for real. And what that means is the next generations, Generation X, millennials, they're stepping into those roles. And this could be the beginning of it. So, at least particularly on the Republican side, but you look at the left as well, the Democrats. I'm not sure which boomer that would be pushed. You hear a lot of talk about AOC, and I don't know what generation Pete Buttigieg is in, but he's not in the boomer generation. I don't know how old Gavin Newsom is. I mean, I guess we could look that up because he's the other one that they kind of throw out there. I don't take him seriously. I probably should, because he probably is going to be the candidate they go with. How old is Gavin Newsom? He might be. Maybe the Democrats are still a ways off on this. 67. What's that make him? Okay, so yeah, Gavin Newsom would be Gen X as well. So yeah, I mean, this might be it. This might be it, guys. I mean, I don't know if that's good. I mean, it's good at the presidential level, seeing that happen. I just think that the average age of House and Senate has been so high for so long. And I mean, as far back as when I first started podcasting in 2014, those episodes are long dead, but I was like, it's time for this shift. Like, it's well past due. And like I said, I wrote an article about it. It'll be coming out. And really what the article is about is, we got this. Like, it's not meant to be spiteful. It's time for you to step down and let us handle it. So yeah, I mean, basically my take on the news right now is, well, one take is, did anyone but Iran get anything? Like, what did we get? Like, if you were to compare the Memorandum of Understanding, the conditions we're going to get, how are they better for the U.S., Israel, or Iran? Like, compare them to before the war, to January, or you can go back to December. Like how will those conditions be different and better for particularly the U.S. and Israel? You can understand how they're not better for Iran in the sense that they got bombed, but the overall, let me put it this way. If Iran had asked for what they're getting before the war, would they have gotten it? And did the U.S. and Israel get anything from this conflict that they wanted as a result? Like, are we in a better place, or do they feel like they got those things? I don't know. It seems to me like they did it. And then the second thing is, I think MAGA's dead, and I think the boomer generation is on its way out in terms of leadership in the United States. So.
No quit, no quit, no quit. Building their wall, building their wall. While they talk about us, all they talk about us. Educated, experienced, still not credible. So we embraced it. Now we're uncredible.